Oh
You
no, I felt
Yeah, I understand how we spin that as people that are positive,
right.
but there's when you put it on a scale of your most successful triumphs and your least successful triumphs. Maybe I could reframe it. How did you learn from the things that, or maybe let's pick one. Hey, Nick, this happened. Here's what it did to me, and here's who I became because of that.
Okay. A drastic fail for me is simple. Like it's black and white because um all of us, especially high achievers, I mean, we set our goals so high that we plan on achieving them. And when we don't, we call it a failure. And I've had many of those. And that is, like you said, what has caused me to be who I am today. And so one of my failures is that I, it's, I created a program. It was called Royalty Coaching. That was the name of my business. I just like the name, right? And so I was speaking at the convention center in Atlanta. I was giving my pitch, and it was awesome. And I said, now, I don't want you to go to the back of the room. This is going to be black and white. Come up to the front. Who would like to invest in the royalty coaching program? And this one guy, tall, handsome, like gentleman, stood up. He said, I will. And I said, okay. And then I said, well, stay tuned. And I gave them my pitch. I told them how much it cost. It was $10,000. And so at the end of it, he still wanted it. I was like, okay, good. And when he came up to me, I said, you know what? I have a payment plan. I have a payment plan. Like most people would have been like, oh, that's awesome. It's 10 grand, a payment plan. But I offended him, totally offended him. He looked at me like, I don't need a payment plan. And I was like, well, I'm just saying you can do 5 and 5, or you can do, and he said, I don't need a payment plan. And he gave me his American Express Platinum. And my hand was shaking. Like I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I was like, I swiped his card. It was the first $10,000 sale that I made at one time, paid in full. And so the reason why I say that's a fail is because two reasons. One, I made an assumption because I didn't have $10,000 at the time. Right? So our money story is our story, what we believe. And so I didn't have $10,000 at the time. So I'm like, you can pay a payment plan, but I insulted him. Number two is the other part of the failure is I took $10,000 and I didn't even have a plan. Honestly, Nick, at the time, I knew I can create a plan for him, but I didn't have a system to put him in where it can be perpetual. Number three, the most epic fail, a part of that same thing is that I was able to build an amazing relationship with he and his wife, and we're still friends to this day. But I actually overpromised and underdelivered.
Mm,
And
mm.
because of that, now I don't have to say over deliver because I'm going to give them exactly what I say I'm going to give them. And because of the experiences, because of the knowledge, because of the financial investments I made in myself, I don't have to over deliver because, sweetie, Mr. Mister, I'm going to give you tremendous value, and that is enough. So, Nick, that's my failure. Back over to you.
Good. I love it. Great. Well stated. When you put in, you didn't hold back. And so I heard never assume. I said,
Ever.
and I heard don't never overpromise and underdeliver. And you also, I think the other one that you said in there was you always have to be prepared, right? You were
Period.
selling something that you weren't prepared
To
to deliver
deliver.
on, right? So,
Absolutely.
well said. Okay, I'm ready. Hit me.
Wait, before your second question, you said never. The first thing you said
First thing
was
you said was never assume, because
right,
yeah,
right.
you assumed that because didn't have 10K floating around in your bank account, there's no way he was going to. So you,
Absolutely. And that's one of the four agreements. That's one of the four agreements. If you have not adopted or even read the four agreements by Mr. Miguel, I encourage you to do so. Number one is never make any assumptions. Number two, never take anything personal. Number three, always give your best. And number four, be impeccable with your word. So I follow those four agreements now, Nick. And so thank you for spotlighting that. And because there are entrepreneurs that are not making the move because they are personally not ready financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. But I'm saying go for it, right?
yeah,
It's belief, In life, you get what you believe. Okay. And so my question to you, Mr. Nick Sarnicola, is I want to know, was there ever a time when you actually did something that you should have apologized for but didn't? That's number one. And then number two is, how did you handle that, knowing that you should have done something but didn't? Did you hold on to regret? Did you release it? How are you able to mentally move forward without allowing that to have residue? Over to you, Nick.
Okay, so I'm actually pretty good at apologizing. I mess up all the time. Especially years ago, I'm more reactive, right? So I just say it's because I'm Italian. I'm a quarter Sicilian. Really. Uh, but I'm usually pretty good at apologizing, especially if I know I've screwed up. Like I have no hesitation of like, hey, I
Right.
screwed up.
Right.
But on the flip side, I'm sure there's 1,000 people that would tell you that I owe them an apology for blank.
Right.
And I so when you ask the question of, hey, is there a time where you regret not apologizing? I I I I don't, unless somebody said to me right now, "Hey, I've been holding on to this. I wish you would
Right.
apologize." And then I'd be like, "Man, I didn't know that." Because I
Mhm.
think there's certain people, both of us are similar in personality, that we can do things that offend people, but we didn't know we actually offended them, so we didn't know we're supposed to apologize. But if I do know I'm supposed to apologize, I am absolutely quick to apologize. And I've never, even if as I'm sitting here right now, I've never been like, man, I regret not
Chantel Jonathan.
not apologizing for blank. Now I could take this a different direction and say, I definitely, I definitely have been slow to forgive, and that's different than
Mm.
quick to apologize. It's actually the opposite,
Absolutely.
right? So if I think
Absolutely.
I'm thinking through the full scope here of
Right.
apologizing and forgiving. I've definitely been slow to forgive in certain scenarios. If I was to regret one, it might be more of being slow to forgive as opposed to slow to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I didn't answer your question directly, but it really is
No,
just
actually, you did. You
okay.
actually did answer the question. Was there an instance, and you said, "Hey, you know what? There's not an instance where I am knowledgeable or cognizant where I should have apologized,
Yeah,
but I have been slow to forgive." And I think, just human nature. We're all kind of slow to forgive because we've been hurt. It's like, ouch. We have to wait till the scab is on until it heals, the epithelial cells are over it, and then we're like, okay, it doesn't hurt anymore when I touch that area. So
yeah.
I totally understand that. Awesome. So Nick, your
What were the
question.
cells? The Gesundheit cells? What were they called?
Epithelial cells, the
Yeah,
skin.
that's probably why I've been slow to forgive. I didn't know the name of those cells, so just and I still can't pronounce them. Um, I think that's anyway. So great
Yeah, I was
question.
using the analogy with a wound,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No,
because
great
it's
question.
really important. I mean, it's gone, the skin is over it, it looks normal, but
Yeah,
if you touch in that area, it's still like, ouch, it's sensitive,
the
it's
scar tissue
tender.
underneath. The scar tissue.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, number three.
Number 3, woo!
Number
Can I
three.
get a drum roll, please?
Yes, we're gonna make this for a sales professional, an entrepreneur, or a solopreneur. If there was three must have characteristics to make it, like you're not going to make it without these three characteristics, what are the three must have characteristics in order for anyone in those different roles or functions to be successful?
Okay, in my humble opinion, actually, it's not even humble. I'm gonna give you my opinion because I have been wildly successful, but I also have had some massive failures. But I can tell you, here's things that I believe, and just reading Inc. and Fortune 500 and different magazines and books, um, there are some common denominators in every single entrepreneur who've created massive success. And of course, that's perspective and subjective, but the reality is, one, you have to have grit. Like, grit is that thing you just can't give, you can't teach. You have to have grit. I got grit. Like no matter what, it's going to get done. You can knock me down, you can run over me with an 18-wheeler. I'm still going to get up. Even if I have to limp, it's going to get done. I promise you, you can cancel Christmas. It's happening. It's happening. So grit, in my humble opinion. And then
Hang
number
on, hang
two,
on, hang on. I'm gonna dive in because you said cancel Christmas. Is that did that grit start because Christmas was canceled that one year? Is that where grit began for you?
you know what? I think that's awesome that you said that because not only was okay, when she was in the hospital, Thanksgiving was even canceled. While other families, Nick, were sitting around the table passing that pumpkin pie, that German chocolate cake, that honey baked ham, we were going to the hospital, just thanking God that that was, her life was our Thanksgiving. So I believe, that was totally subconscious that I said cancel Christmas. But you know what? That makes sense. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write a book, a chapter, but about that in an anthology about canceling Christmas because my Christmas was canceled. So yeah, so grit is number one. You have to have that grit. You have to be ready to do it no matter what. Number two, outside of grit, I think you have to have that bulldog tenacity. When a bulldog grabs onto something, and I would say a pit and a rock, you have to have that kind of tenacity that you want it so bad that you are not letting go. So my goals, my freedom, I want that so bad that there I'm not letting go. I may change the vehicle. I mean, I may take a plane, a train, an automobile. I may take, a bird. know, I am going to change the vehicle, but I'm never ever going to change my destination. And I'm going to get there no matter what. I have that bulldog tenacity. You can tell me it's not going to work. You cannot support me. You cannot buy from me. You cannot hire me. You can badmouth me. You can do whatever. But I can tell you this: at the end of every sentence, they're gonna say, "But she's doing her thing, though. But she got it done."
You
So
don't quit.
no, at all. What? I don't even know how to say that. I can't even get it out. So number one is have grit. Number two is that bulldog tenacity. And number three, I think one of the attributes you have to have is I think rhinoceros skin, the skin of a rhinoceros. So it's about following those four agreements, never take anything personal. Nick, for me, at one point in my life, and you, I applaud you publicly for helping me with that because that's one of the things I used to take things personally. I should be like, well, they said this, and I had to address every single thing. And one of the things that you said, Nick, that stuck with me is we were arguing on the phone. I call it arguing, but you were just saying what it was because there was no arguing with you. You was like, listen, I'm the one who created, 40 millionaires. Now, are you going to listen to me? You told me, Nick, and I want you guys to write this down. I want you to rewind this because this is so true. You said, Tina, do you want to be rich or do you want to be right? And honestly, at the time, I think I had the mindset of being right. Like, I'm going to tell you because that's not what you said. But then once you hung up in my face, because yeah, he hung up in my face, you guys, before. And let me tell you something.
Let
It
me
was so
apologize for that currently. Just so
actually, no, 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 no. I don't want you to apologize. There's no apology needed. So we're on the phone like this. Look at this. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you're like, Tina, go do this. Because I said, hey, I'm coachable. Tell me what to do. I'm going to go do it. But this one day, I'm like, well, shouldn't I do it this way? Shouldn't I do this? And you're like, no, do it like this. I'm like, well, what about this? And you said, Tina, listen, I don't have time for this. Click. And I was like, I was looking at the phone like this. What? Wait, did he just hang up on me? Like, does he know I am Tina D. Lewis and the D stands for Diva? Did he just hang up on me? So I love the fact that, would he probably couldn't do that to someone else because they would probably take it, wrong or run away or not speak or anything. But for me, I admit, like I am rough around the edges. I need some straight coaching. Tell me what to do. I'll do it. Make me better. I'm all about amelioration. Make me better, enhance me, improve me, and put yourself in that environment. And so, Nick, I applaud you for that. You want to be rich or you want to be right. And I say that to my clients to this day. And I tell you because my mentor said it to me. And so those are the three things. One, you have to have grit. Two, have that bulldog tenacity. And I'm going to say perseverance. You have to have perseverance. And I developed the skin of a rhinoceros. Nothing bothers me anymore. I'm not going to say I don't feel a certain way about it, but I'm going to say it does not affect.
Yeah.
It does not affect my goal. It does not affect my day. I don't have bad days. I have bad moments. Nick, back over to you.
Well, beautifully stated. I think that last thing you said might be the most powerful thing of all, of which is you don't have bad days, you have bad moments, and you figure out how to course correct based on knowing yourself deeply enough on how to course correct quickly. So,
Absolutely.
bravo to you, man. This is so great to see your evolution over the last decade.
Well, you know what? It comes by having mentors. I believe that everyone, no matter how great you are or how non great you think you are, I believe that everyone should have a mentor. Nick, even with my story from my mom near fatal car accident to the projects to welfare to a plethora of other things, even with that, for me to be able to be on Necker Island with Richard Branson and be mentored by a billionaire, are you projects Necker Island? There's no synalogy there at all. It just isn't. There's no synonymy at all. To me, being able to meet Oprah Winfrey, to Robert Kiyosaki, to Donald Trump, like I know you guys gonna say a lot of things about it. It's not about politics for me. For me, I love watermelon. So you know what I do, you guys? I eat the red meat and spit out the seeds, even for people. The knowledge that I the knowledge that I get. I eat the
That's
red meat and I spit out
awesome.
the seeds. Everything is not
Where'd
going to
you get
apply to
that?
me.
Hang on. Where did you get that? That's good. That's really good. That's the first time I've ever heard that in my life. And it's very rare that I hear something completely new for the first time. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, because
All right.
that's just the reality.
Hit me with the last question. Let's take it
Okay,
home.
awesome. The last question for the Nick Sarnicola is: you've traveled all around the globe developing entrepreneurs from different religions, different cultures.
Yep.
And so, for most entrepreneurs, I think it's safe to say, and I'm basing this on statistics, to have a multilingual, multi diverse client based audience, there has to be some attributes or some characteristics that you have to develop so you can appeal to all. So I would love for you to tell me, like, what is that one thing that causes you to go to Italy and become an Italian? Not the part that you're Sicilian, but how can you do that? How can you dive in with the Latino community and be the el hombre, poppy? How can you do that? How can you get into the Asian culture and all of these cultures? Because Nick, you took a company from zero to billions of dollars in a short time, and it was multicultural. So my question to you was, what is that one attribute that you have to have in order to tap into that genius zone?
You
Back
know,
over to
you
you.
have to be able to feel deeply, right? So you have to be able to feel deeply because in order to cross over language barriers, you have to tap into something more energetic, right? And you have to be able to sense the emotion on the other side of the person that you're
Yes,
connecting with. And maybe the word is empathy. It's not sympathy, right? Maybe part of it's
absolutely.
empathy, maybe part of it's energy. But you have to be able to feel deeply to say, okay, because man, language is a son of a bitch. Because even when people are using this Google Translate, like I've had people say some stuff just in the last 24 hours, like I don't think they meant to say that, right? I don't
At
think they meant
all.
to say that exact term right there. So you have to be really open to say, okay, there's going to be a lot of misinterpretation. There's going to be a lot of misunderstanding. We have to understand that we're coming from completely different places, upbringings, cultures, uh,
Yes, yes,
and we have to figure out how to penetrate into the hearts, right? Past all the language, everything else, and penetrate into the hearts. I remember the one that was always the hardest for me was Finland, right? Finland, these people, these people showed zero emotion, even less. Like Germans are known to be very, very
stoic.
yeah,
Yeah.
stoic, good word, kind of strict, stoic, and just very straightforward. But Finland's like another level, right? And
Wow,
people
I couldn't
afterwards,
imagine.
yeah, and I'm just like I'm bubbly and I'm just engaging, and at the end, like people never moved an eyebrow, and I'm so excited. This is so exciting. Like, well, tell your face if you're excited. Like, you know what I mean? So you have to figure out how to understand that. Wait, okay, you were a communist occupied country, right? Like this is
Right.
there's hundreds of years of culture here that
Mm,
you're not
mm,
going to raise your hand and react to me. You're not going to laugh. You're built to be skeptical. You're built to be distant. You're built to be disconnected. You're built to be cold. in that.
Right.
I got to figure out how to penetrate that so that we can get to the humanness of the conversation and figure out, hey, what do you want? And how can I help you? And how can, and how can I help you understand that you can trust me in that? Right. And I think,
Mm,
that was the long answer, but back to the short answer, you have to be able to deeply feel and understand where that person is currently, and where they came from for decades prior, in order
right.
to break through to their heart. Great
Wow.
question.
Oh my gosh. Nick, I think because you have to feel deeply, you have to give that long answer because feeling deeply encompasses a lot of things. Our first week in medical school, what they taught us? I was in the PA program. What they taught us is that cross cultural competency, how to deal with other cultures. You never touch the hijab of an Arab nation. You never touch it. You never ask them to remove it. You never call an older Latina lady mija, even though that's a term of endearment. So cross cultural competency, knowing their struggle, you went back to communism, like knowing their struggle, it helps you ease their pain. And I believe that's where you build instant rapport. And I am doing that now with global women speakers. We speak all over the globe. So dealing with different people, different cultures, I'm just blown away at what you're able to do when you begin to feel deeply.
Where can everyone find you? Take us home. Where can we find you, Tina D?
That's
Dr.
easy.
Tina D. Lewis.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. Listen, I want to speak to the ladies, oh gentlemen, and the men who loves us. But if you just simply have a message that you would like to share, a product or service that you would like to sell, literally globally around the world, then I want you to connect with us at globalwomenspeakers.com. There is a QR code right here. Go ahead and scan it. It'll take you directly there. Listen, we just came from Spain and Paris and Dubai. I'm going to London, back to Dubai. We're going to be speaking at the University of Johannesburg. I want to give you an invitation, Nick. Nick, I would love for you to come to South Africa with us, speak at the University of Johannesburg. If anyone knows entrepreneurship, it is you, hands down. That is not up for debate. I'm talking about my personal experience. This man right here, no matter what you think about him, what you hear, what you see, he is a beast when it comes to entrepreneurship. He is a machine, literally a machine that can feel deeply. How do you have both? Like, we're anomalies, Nick. That's the reality. He can get you to your goal. You need to connect with him ASAP. Matter of fact, if you're in real estate, listen. I don't know everything, but I know what I know. Did you hear me? I know what I know. So if you are in the real estate market and you want to not 10x, that's cute. You don't want to 10x it, right? If you literally want to build a true legacy and create some massive income, tap into Nick's from Nicola. Nick, they can find me at globalwomenspeakers.com. It's simply for women entrepreneurs that want to share their message, sell their products or their services, or network with women entrepreneurs around the globe. My name is Dr. Tina D. Lewis. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Back over to you, Nick.
All right, guys, episode 10. We had some tech
Woo!
issues. Apologize for that. Instagram, we're sad, but we had to jump off from the IG. But the rest of y'all, I'm looking forward to cutting up. There were some hot topics in here. Look forward to cutting up, getting it out to the world.
Yes.
You guys can find me on nickslinktree.com. That's where you can find everything that we're doing and what we're up to. And episode 10, Dr. Tina D. Lewis, that's a wrap. Tina, thank you so much. Grateful for you.
Thank you. Bye bye.